Welcome into CBS Sports Network. It's HQ Spotlight time. I am Mike Morgan. That is the one and only Jordan Giorgio.
How are you? First
Doing
show
well.
together.
I know.
So excited. We have a lot to get to. How'd you sleep last night, by the way?
Not very well because I was so giddy about football.
I was going to say, I woke up today feeling refreshed and just like everything was right in the world finally because we got to watch an NFL football game last night. However, the Detroit Lions probably wish they could forget about their performance against the Los Angeles Chargers during the Hall of Fame game. Now, let's not panic too much, though, because this is the preseason, so just take everything with a grain of salt, okay? But let's go ahead and really break down the players to watch this NFL preseason for not only the Lions, but all the teams in the NFC North. To do that, we go ahead and say hello to our own John Breech and Ryan Wilson for more. Guys, great to see you. Ryan, let's go ahead and begin with the name you're watching this preseason for the Lions.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker, and we saw a little bit of him last night in the second half. As you pointed out, Jordan, it didn't exactly go according to plan, at least the Dan Campbell plan early on. A ton of turnovers, 2K from Kyle Allen, the quarterback who started that game. No Jared Goff, no surprise there. One interception late for Hendon Hooker, but he's the former third-round pick who tore his ACL late in the season for Tennessee. He had a chance to be a top 50 guy had he stayed healthy because he did some really good things for Tennessee down the stretch. He just has been getting healthy, number one, and number two, he's behind Jared Goff in what has been an incredibly explosive offense. So if he can show something this preseason, he's not going to supplant Jared Goff, but he can be the solid number two. Or it could be a situation where maybe he looks to get moved or the Lions look to move him. He goes somewhere else, we'll have an opportunity to start because, as we know, there's always a need for quarterbacks in the NFL. Hendon had it coming out, barring that injury. Need to see more flashes from him in the preseason to see what that means for his NFL future.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be keeping my eye on Hendon Hooker, and I will also be keeping my eye on Tate Ratledge, their rookie offensive lineman. If you look at what the Detroit Lions did last season, one reason they were so successful on the offensive side of the ball is because of their offensive line. But they lost a guard, Kevin Zeitler. We saw Frank Ragnow retire, which was just a huge loss. So now you have Ratledge coming in here. He did not play in the Hall of Fame game, but I'm sure we will see plenty of him over the final 3 games that the Lions will play this preseason. Ratledge could be a guard or center. The Lions have a little bit of time to figure this out. I think that is the interesting part, to see where he fits in, because they're going to need him to be successful if this Lions offense isn't going to lose a beat from where they were last season. And then they also have Christian Mahogany, who will be trying to break in an offensive line at guard. So there are 2 offensive linemen. They're trying to break in. If they struggle, the Lions offense could struggle. So those would be 2 guys to watch for the rest of the preseason.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as both of you guys. Got to keep in mind last night as well was the first for new offensive coordinator John Moran. So we'll hope that the Lions find some more consistency on offense as the preseason continues here. Let's get to the Packers now. And spoiler alert, you both have the same answer. And I think that rookie receiver Matthew Golden is who all Packers fans are really looking to watch this preseason. But John, what specifically do you want to see from him?
Well, it's not even just Matthew Golden. It's how does he fit into the Packers offense. We're talking about a team that has not used a first-round draft pick on a wide receiver since 2002. So when you're going more than 2 decades without using a first-round pick on that position, that automatically puts some pressure on Matthew Golden to be successful. And you look at what this team had last season. They had a solid group of receivers, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, but none of those guys really emerged as kind of a true number 1 guy. None of them went over 900 yards receiving. We had Josh Jacobs back in February complaining about the fact that the team didn't have a true number 1 receiver. When guys on your own team are complaining, that puts pressure on the front office to kind of step up and get someone, and that pressure is going to go on Gold now because he's going to have to perform. So we're going to see what kind of chemistry he builds with Jordan Love, and so that will certainly be the thing that the Packers fans, that everyone in the NFC North, if the Packers will be good this year, Matthew Golden will be a big part of that.
John, you mentioned 2002. Javon Walker was the last first-round pick of the Green Bay Packers, probably much to Aaron Rodgers' chagrin because it felt like he was always looking for that next first-rounder that never arrived for him. That is now Jordan Love's the beneficiary of that because, as John noted, all those young wide receivers on the depth chart were second-round or later guys, all flash potential to be the number 1, but it never got to that point. And Robert Golden is a great test case for someone who 12 months ago wasn't really on a lot of NFL draft guy radars because he had just transferred from Houston. He was a track guy. he was probably going to be wide receiver 2, 3, or 4, depending on how things panned out at Texas. And all he did was ended up being the best offensive player on that team. He was great start to finish. He did a lot of things for Quinn Ewers that made Quinn Ewers' life easier, and he parlayed that into being a first-round pick. And the buzz so far through training camp has been exceptional. I think he's exceeding expectations, Jordan. He feels like a true number 1, and if you can get him involved early, along with all the other playmakers John just talked about, this offense should be ready to go because they have the quarterback situation settled. The offensive line should be pretty good. Now you get that number 1 wide receiver there with all those other young playmakers, and now you talk about another playoff push and making a deep playoff run this time around.
We'll see if all of that can translate come game time. Let's check in now with the Minnesota Vikings. I feel like there could be a few options here, but quarterback J.J. McCarthy is top of your list, Ryan, and for good reason.
Yeah, I think he is under more pressure than Sam Darnold is, who balled out last year and won 15 games, is now the quarterback in Seattle, just because we don't know what J.J. McCarthy is going to look like as an NFL quarterback. Played one preseason game last year. I remember watching that preseason game and talking about it with our buddy Rick Spielman on the podcast, and we were both incredibly impressed, but then the knee injury sidelined him for the rest of his rookie season. So it is great that he had an opportunity to sit and learn without the pressure of having to play on day one. But now the pressure's on, and it is on in a big way. This team didn't win 2 games last year. They won 15 games last year. Kevin O'Connell is known as the quarterback whisperer. He's going to have to earn that this time around. And the other thing I come back to, guys, is that for as fun a person and great personality as J.J. McCarthy is, and a potentially great leader, he was not asked to do a lot at Michigan the year they won the national title. Not entirely his fault. He was surrounded by great players, but now he's going to be put in situations where he's going to have to win games for the Vikings, and the question is, can he do it? So I want to see what that looks like, and you know, we'll all find out together. I wish him the best, but it's going to be tough sledding, not only for JJ, but for any young quarterback making his first go-round as the guy atop the depth chart.
Yeah, and Wilson, you mentioned the tough sledding for J.J. McCarthy. One reason it's going to be tough sledding is he's going to have a totally new offensive line in front of him. The Vikings revamped everything, and if the new offensive line doesn't hold up, J.J. McCarthy's not going to have much success no matter what happens. So you look at what Minnesota did this offseason on the offensive line. They went out and signed Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, and then they drafted Donovan Jackson with their first-round pick. So that's your whole interior offensive line are all going to be first-time starters in Minnesota at right guard, at center, at left guard. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on them to succeed, because if they don't, J.J. McCarthy is going to have a rough initial year as a starter. And I'm sure we will see them in the preseason, because there's no way Kevin O'Connell is going to let J.J. McCarthy play snaps without the first-team offensive line out there. So there is going to be a lot of pressure on that O-line to gel quickly. And 2 of those guys, Fries and Kelly, both came from Indianapolis, former Colts offensive linemen. Well, usually teams don't let talented offensive linemen walk away, so it will be interesting to see if those guys are playing with a chip on their shoulder, because they did both leave Indy. So those guys, that unit is going to have to gel quickly if the Vikings offense is going to be successful.
That's a great point, John. Lastly, let's check in with Chicago. Naturally, John, quarterback Caleb Williams will be catching all of our eyes, and how he really operates with new head coach Ben Johnson. High expectations for him to possibly have a breakout season. We'll wait and see, but in order for that to happen, what development do you need to see come the preseason?
Well, the interesting thing about Caleb Williams is that earlier this offseason, we saw those comments that came out that he was basically complaining about the coaching staff that was here last year, and he didn't really think they were qualified enough to kind of help him move forward and become a good NFL quarterback. Well, now he has a very smart offensive mind running the show in Ben Johnson. So really what I need to see is, how well does he grasp Ben Johnson's offense? How well can he run it? Can he run it as successfully as Jared Goff did in Detroit? And I think what Ben Johnson has been trying to do is kind of build the Detroit Lions in Chicago. We beefed up the offensive line, and the line was a big reason why Detroit was so successful. You got a strong running game. You got a couple good receivers there, and DJ Moore and Roma Dunze. So now it's kind of up to Caleb Williams to make this all move forward. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles playing in this offense the first time. So if he gets out there in the preseason, looks good, Bears fans won't be worried. But if he goes out there and struggles, it could be a long year for the Bears.
Yeah, I think the arrow's pointing up for the reasons you point out. Look, you don't want your quarterback, rookie or otherwise, calling out the OC and the head coach. The OC lasted 6 weeks. The head coach got fired after the season. But, John, you mentioned Rome Odunze. You mentioned DJ Moore. They also drafted Luther Burden III in the second round to make that offense even more explosive. But I'm going to go with their first-round pick, tight end Colston Loveland out of Michigan, who was a big part of J.J. McCarthy's success 2 years prior. And we talked to him at the Combine. He had his arm in a sling, but he has been all systems go since being cleared to play. He is big. He is long. He is fast. His teammates have applauded his ability to block. He didn't have to do a ton of that at Michigan, but when he did, he was really good at it. You can line him up anywhere. And you talk all the time about that offensive line being a young quarterback's best friend, especially in relation to the Vikings. In addition to that, a tight end in the middle of the field that always gets open can be a young quarterback's best friend. I think Caleb is going to have a rocket ship type season. Maybe something a lot of us thought he would have last year. Ben Johnson, check. All the offensive playmakers, check. I think the offensive line is going to be a little bit better as well. So I think Colston Loveland's going to be a big part of that success. But it all starts with Caleb and Ben Johnson. And I feel pretty good about the Bears, certainly much better than I did in recent years.
All right, well, that's good to know. Some high expectations coming from you, Ryan Wilson. Great stuff as always, you guys. Those Bears will kick off their preseason Sunday, August 10th against the Miami Dolphins. As you see there, some of the other upcoming preseason games for those NFC North teams. The Lions will take on the Falcons in Atlanta August the 8th. 7 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. We'll see the Texans and Vikings August 9th, and the Jets and Packers. Quick break for us here on CBS Sports Network. When we return, Damien Harris and Emory Hunt join us for some realistic expectations for these NFC North teams. At what stage of next season will they be eliminated, and could one go all the way to the Super Bowl? Back here on CBS Sports Network, where don't you hold the Detroit Lions' performance last night in the Hall of Fame game against them, okay? It's the preseason, and the Lions still have the best odds to win the NFC North, as you see here, at plus 155. But at what stage next season could all these teams really on your screen in the NFC North be eliminated, or do they actually have a shot to go all the way? Let's go ahead and find out as we welcome in Emory Hunt and Damien Harris for more. Guys, great to see you. The Lions are certainly expected to be a contender, but let's go ahead and show you a look at their elimination odds right now. Odds makers are currently betting on the Lions to miss the playoffs at plus 145. Emory, let's go ahead and start with you. From a betting perspective, where do you feel you're seeing the most value here on the Lions?
Definitely missing the playoffs. I mean, it was a bad omen. Day one, game one, play one, they fumbled the football. Like I can't fathom how bad that looked. They probably still running gases right now based on how they played last night in that ball game. But I would say miss the playoffs because you have a lot of moving pieces with the coordinators. Offensive line is, reshuffling a little bit. Defensively is where you have some concern, especially on the defensive interior. They're already banged up right now in that regard. So I would say they're more than likely to miss the playoffs. Even though it's short odds, I will take those odds because everyone else around them in this division got better.
Okay, so this is pretty interesting because Damien is actually hoping to cash in that plus 440 that you saw on your screen for the Lions to lose in the divisional round. Tell us more, Damien.
Yeah, I think that they can definitely make it at least to the divisional round. Like, listen, Emory made a good point. All the teams in NFC, they got better, but I think the Detroit Lions have gotten better as well. You look at them getting Aiden Hutchinson back, who potentially could have been Defensive Player of the Year last season. And then you look at a guy like Jamison Williams, who's looking to become a true wide receiver 1B, if you will, to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then I just think that Dan Campbell has laid out the foundation for this team. They got a taste of it last year. That was a magical season for the Detroit Lions, but I don't think they're satisfied with just getting to 15 wins and then losing in the wild card last year. I think they take it a step further. I'm not expecting them to go super deep into the playoffs, but I think that they at least get over the wild card hump, make it to the divisional round, and then we'll see what happens.
It's a fair point. Fair point. Let's get to the Packers now, and here's a look at their elimination odds. Right now, odds makers betting that the Packers will miss the playoffs, as you see there at minus 115, but a lot of confidence from both Damien and Emory, though, on the Packers to lose in the wild card round, which odds makers have at plus 340 right now. Emory, tell me why.
They have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Jordan Love, so that's going to give them a puncher's chance. And defensively, I like where Green Bay is headed. They've built this defense up at all three levels. Yes, the cornerback position is a little bit of a question mark. They traded away Jair Alexander, but at the end of the day, when you look at their offense, they'll be able to run the football. The offensive line is better. We know what you're going to get from Josh Jacobs, and what we're seeing from camp out of Matthew Golden gives them a good option at receiver. As long as they can stay healthy within that group, they'll be fine. So there's a lot to like about Green Bay. They're battle tested, and if Jordan Love can play like we saw him play at parts of last season, but definitely in 2023, this team definitely can get to the playoffs. But I just have them losing in that wild card round.
Yeah, to piggyback off Emory, I think you look at three positions. The defense, I think they have a pretty set defense, but I look at quarterback play, which we all know what Jordan Love can be. We know why he signed that big extension, why Green Bay gave him all that money. We also know why they went out and got Josh Jacobs, because he is one of the best running backs in the league. So you have a balanced offense that can run, can pass, and play defense. Then you go out and you get your first round pick at the wide receiver position since 2002. And not only that, Matthew Golden has been delivering from what we've heard throughout training camp. So I think this offense makes a big leap this year. I think Matt LaFleur, this offensive coaching staff, I think they find a way to get these guys in the right position, unlock all of that talent, and then I think they can make the playoffs this year.
Let's go ahead and stay on the same page here and get to the Vikings. Achieved a 14-3 record last season, making them the first 14-win wild card team in NFL history, looking to, of course, build upon that. However, Emory, you don't feel like that will be the case, taking this minus 120 on Minnesota to miss the playoffs. Explain yourself.
Well, I think they overachieved last year, Jordan, because when you think about getting 14 wins out of Sam Darnold, now you're looking at this young guy coming in and say, hey, you better win 14 games, right? It's unrealistic expectations. But if you kind of look at how it's built, they have two excellent wide receivers in Addison and Jefferson, a really good tight end in Hockenson. They have a good back in Aaron Jones. The offensive line should be healthy and improved. They added some in free agency. And on the defensive side of the football, I mean, when you think about what Brian Flores is able to bring to the table, they can rush the passer. Harrison Smith doesn't get old. He's still back there playing high-level football. And Metellus is also another improving player that they re-signed or extended. You like the chances of them making the postseason, but there's still so much unknown for J.J. McCarthy. I do like how his situation sets up like it was at Michigan, where, hey, man, just play your 111th, and we should be fine. But even if they win 9 games, I think because the NFC as a whole got better, this division got better, there's still enough to where they missed the postseason.
Yeah, I think last year was a complete anomaly, what happened with Sam Darnold and that coaching staff. I think that was a truly magical year. And to Emory's point, to expect that from a young J.J. McCarthy, who he sat out all of last season with an injury, and now he's trying to get up to speed and reach that expectation that they now have of winning 14 games. I mean, that's just a lot to put on a young quarterback's plate with a lot of moving parts and a lot of things. Now, Emory made a lot of good points. They brought in Brian Flores. He's doing a great job with the defense. Like, they have pieces. Don't get me wrong. They have the components to be a good team, but to be a playoff team, again, throwing a young quarterback in there who doesn't have very much game experience, doesn't have very many reps, throwing him in there and having that same expectation to get back to 14 wins, I think they definitely fall short of that. And in a situation like that, if you fall short of 14, I think it's more of you just missed the playoffs as a whole. Yeah,
a combination of things. I'm on the same page with you guys as well. And I don't know if you saw that schedule, 5th toughest in the league entering this upcoming season. That's going to be brutal. Lastly here, let's get to the Bears. Odds makers are betting Chicago to miss the playoffs at minus 230. But Emory, you are taking them to lose in the divisional round at plus 850, as you see here. Are you seeing just nothing but dollar signs with this pick?
Listen, I've been all over Gayle King's internet telling everybody the Bears is going to win the division and go to the postseason. So why would I back down now, guys? I am hammering this number in terms of what losing in the division round at plus 850. I like what Chicago is doing, man. They have improved their offense. I thought last year we were talking about, oh, this is tailor-made, turnkey offense for Caleb Williams. Nah, this year, this offense with Ben Johnson and what they done on the interior of that offensive line, guard center, guard play is where football is won. Don't listen to big tackle propaganda out there. It's about the interior offensive line. They got better on the defensive interior. They already have some good pass rushers. I like the receiving core. Even though Luther Burton is out there with that Tom Waddle big number 87 jersey, he'll fit right in. They have 2 tight ends. They can run the football. There's a lot of good things about the Bears. Take them at plus 550 to win a division, and take them at plus 850 to lose in the divisional round, and then meet me at the cash bar, because that's where we're going to be with all this money.
I might see you there. Damien's not seeing you there because he differs here. No love for Caleb Williams and company and first-year head coach Ben Johnson to make the postseason for you, Damien. Why is that?
First of all, let me tell you two things. One, Emory is a motivational speaker if I ever heard one, because he just almost made me change my entire thought process.
You can.
Number two, I will never gamble with Emory Hunt a day in my life, because he's in way too big over his britches right here. Listen, you make a compelling case, Emory. I do think the Chicago Bears have gotten better, but the one area where I question if they've gotten better is Caleb Williams, because as we're seeing this new Ben Johnson offense being implemented into the Chicago system, there's reports, there's talk of, Caleb having to do more than he's had to do before in terms of processing information, digesting information at the line of scrimmage, getting guys in the right position. And it's almost like they're having to slow down the progression rate for Caleb Williams to develop in this system and understand the scheme. So, again, you make a lot of good points. They got a lot of talented guys. They drafted well. They went out and got some guys in free agency that are really going to help them. A guy like Joe Tooney, who's won a couple Super Bowls for the Patriots, the Chiefs, somebody that can firm up the interior for Caleb Williams. But I'm not convinced yet that he's going to have it mentally this year to put them in a position to get to the playoffs.
All right, we'll wait and see if he proves you wrong. Emory, Damien will not be joining us in Vegas, but you can always count on me, friends, okay? Great stuff, you guys. Thanks for joining us here on CBS Sports Network. It's HQ Spotlight. Get some more NFL futures and some of the best bets in the NFL on the Early Edge podcast. It's a daily sports line betting podcast that you can scan that QR code on your screen right now and watch and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, we know the Chiefs have owned the AFC West for a while, but there are some players to watch for looking to change that trend. It's up next on Spotlight.